Hey everyone, welcome to Encore, and today we're going back to basic, and we are doing the basics of using cream foundation, so keep watching. Hey everyone, it's Corin, and you're watching EnKoreMakeup. Blend, blend, blend.
Hi, Corin, stop using my lipstick.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So I've been getting a lot of kind of comments and inquiries about how to prevent cakey foundation. And for the most part, caked on foundation is human error. You cake that on there for it to be cakey. And one thing I notice is that, just from observing a lot of people when they're applying their foundation, is that when they apply it on, they constantly picking up product and packing it onto their skin, and therefore, of course, the result is going to look cakey. So today I'm going to demonstrate to you guys what is the best way to apply your cream foundation, and this also applies to any cream-like foundation, like mousse foundation, gel foundation, things like that. Okay, foundation in a tube. So anything that's not too liquidy, all right? So it's kind of like a cream or gel-based foundation. Basically, this is kind of like a beginner back to basic video, but it's basically going to teach you how to properly apply your cream foundation so that way it's not cakey. So for this demonstration, I'm going to be using my cream foundation, my Duo foundation from Eve Pearl. And the first thing I'm going to demonstrate for you beginners out there is how to perfectly match your foundation. Okay, and the best place to do it is right in this area right here, because you want your face color to match your neck coloring. Okay, so as you can see, my neck coloring is a little lighter right now than my face coloring because I got a little bit of sun. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to try to swatch. I'm going to start with the light first because I think visually it looks more like my skin tone. So I'm going to apply that right here. Okay, and then I just look straight and see if that color matches my neck color, which is really, really close. So that might be my color. Now I'm going to try the darker of the two. Swatch it in the same place. Alright. And then look, and I can already tell that that's too dark for me. Okay, so that is more my base color, but that might be a great contour color for me because you want your contour color to be 1 to 2 shades darker than your skin tone. Alright, so now that I've decided that's the color I'm going to use, I am going to show you guys how to apply cream foundations. That way you get a perfect application without it looking cakey. Okay, so your first step is to make sure to prep and prime your skin. Okay, and that includes moisturizing the skin prior to any makeup product. It's very, very important, and let your skin absorb that product about 15 to 20 minutes before applying your makeup. Now, a lot of beginners tend to apply moisturizer and then apply their makeup without letting the skin get the chance to absorb the product. So make sure to moisturize your skin at least 15 to 20 minutes prior to applying any makeup product. Now, if you have fine lines, acne marks, or anything like that, you want to prime it after moisturizing it. Okay, so that way the primer is going to initially fill in those lines and marks so that way your foundation doesn't sink into them. And I moisturized my skin about half an hour ago, and I already primed it as well. Okay, so that way, all my fine lines and a little bit of the acne marks are going to look better because the foundation is not going to sink into them. Now, if you have oily skin like I do, what I use is kind of like an oil control lotion instead of moisturizer because it's got moisturizers built into it, but it also has ingredients that's going to help control my oils and also use the oils so that the foundation is going to stick to the skin, make it last longer. So it's going to utilize your natural oils to stick to the skin. So if you have not seen my prep and prime 101 video. Make sure to watch that. It'll explain to you more on how to prep and prime your skin. So we're going to proceed on to the foundation application, and the first tip I'm going to give you guys is make sure to apply the foundation where your skin gets battered the most. Okay, so which means that, you know, which part of your face is susceptible to like exfoliating or sun exposure, things like that. That's where you want to first apply your foundation. And I've seen people go foundation, skin, foundation, skin, foundation, skin, foundation, skin, foundation. By the end of it all, your foundation looks cakey because you slapped on all that foundation and caked it on yourself. So that's why I keep saying caked on foundation is human error, because you caked that on. Alright, so the best way is to pick up the color and apply it to those areas that I mentioned earlier. And in my case, it's going to be this area right here. So you can see this color right here is lighter than this, because I can tell that this part right here is the part of my skin that's a little bit more susceptible to sun exposure. And when I exfoliate my face, I always start with my forehead right here and also my cheekbones. Again, that's another area. Cheekbones stick out more, so therefore it's getting a lot more sun exposure. And also when you wash your face, it's always around the cheekbone area, so that's susceptible to, you know, abrasion as well. Another area is right in the chin right here that sticks out, and in my case, my upper lip area right here is also sticking out. So those are the main areas that are a little bit more exposed. So that is where I'm going to apply the product, not in my whole face. Okay, so what I do is I apply it right in my forehead area. Okay, so just enough amount. All right, and then again right in my cheekbone. All right, right in my chin, my upper lip, because it sticks out. And another feature that's really, really exposed to the sun and also exfoliating and everything is my nose right here, because it's the part of your face that sticks out the most. So I usually just apply that right in my face. Okay, so those are the areas that I'm going to put foundation on, the initial application. Okay, so right in my forehead, cheekbones, down the nose, upper lip, and chin. Nowhere else. So at this point, I'm going to blend and shear that out. Okay, now with foundation, guys, you do not need to put thick, heavy foundation in areas where you don't need foundation and coverage. Okay, so just concentrate on the areas that you think you'll need more coverage, but do it in a building strategy as opposed to packing it on right there right off the bat. So what you want to do is make sure to blend all these first and then eyeball it and see where you're going to need more later. Okay, and for me to shear this out, what I'm going to do, or the technique that I usually do, is make sure to spritz my brush with a refresher spray, not a setting spray. Do not use setting spray because it's going to set the makeup. You don't want the makeup to set while you're still working on it. So I'm just going to use my charged water for that. I'm just going to spritz the brush, and then I'm going to blend. Okay, so as you can see, with just that product that I put in my forehead, it's going to cover everything, including the lines, the fine lines, the little crevices in my forehead. So don't think that every time your brush touches your skin that it needs products from the compact. No. So work on it by the area. Alright. What you want to do is to make sure that it's evenly spread out. Alright, so as you can see, my forehead is looking great with just the product that I put initially right in this area. So just spread and blend all that out. Okay. And you can also use a damp sponge if you prefer that. For me, I like using both. I like using a brush and I also like using a sponge. Okay, a lot of people are a little bit more used to using a damp sponge. Make sure it's damp. Dry sponge is going to basically pick up all these products, all right? And you're going to get more product in your sponge than your skin. So make sure that your sponge is wet, not wet that's dripping, but just damp. Okay, so what I'm going to do is re-wet my brush, okay, and then I'm going to start working on the T-zone. Okay, so starting from my nose. Alright, and you want to be really, really light-handed, okay? And that's one thing I noticed, like, people are really heavy-handed, so therefore you're basically just picking up the product from your skin. You're not blending it out and spreading it, so make sure that it's really, really light-handed, so that way the product is staying on the skin and just spreading out, as opposed to the brush picking it up again. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to work on my upper lip, making sure that gets into the line. As you can see, the expression lines soften, and then down my chin. Okay, so you can see I'm spreading it out in a downward motion right in my T-zone. Okay, so now I did the T-zone, I'm ready to work out on the outer part of my face. Now for the cheek part, I like doing the upward motion because you don't want to drag the cheeks down. Okay, that's when you're going to get a lot of wrinkling and sagging and stuff like that. So always try to do it in an upward motion if you can. Okay, and as you can see, I'm also doing this in kind of like short strokes as opposed to long strokes like that, because I don't want to get a lot of brush strokes. Okay, and of course this is the part where you make faces. Alright, so just spread the initial application out first. Making sure that your brush is constantly moist. Again, using a refresher spray is ideal. Don't use setting spray because it's going to set the foundation and you don't want that to happen. It's going to be hard to blend if you're using a setting spray. Okay. Okay, so once you initially apply that, so you can see it's not cakey at all because I didn't pack a lot of products in there, even though, you know, I know that I need a lot of coverage because of, you know, some scar marks and whatnot. And the trick is to really not cover them, but just make sure that the product is enough for it to spread nicely and evenly on your skin. And then at this point, stand back from the mirror, look at it, and see where you're going to need a little bit more coverage. So right now, I think I'm going to need a little bit more coverage right in this area right here. So I'm just going to go back and just very lightly apply just in those areas. See that? Alright, so make sure that's evenly blended. Okay, and then just step back, see where else you're going to need. I need a little bit more right here. Just very, very lightly, very, very little build. Okay, don't cake it on right off the bat. Okay, if you think it needs some more, then pick up some more products after you blend it first and shear it out. Alright, and then once I'm happy with the finish, it's not cakey, it's very light feeling, I'm ready to set that. So cream products, you always, always, always have to set it with powder. So for that, I'm just going to use my Makeup Forever high definition powder. Okay, and my little puff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the bulk of it right in the T-zone. Okay, and then I'm going to basically dab that in a rolling fashion. Alright, don't rub it because again, you're basically picking up the color. okay, the product from your skin if you do that. So make sure you're either dabbing it or rolling it, okay? Another tip, when you apply the powder, make sure that the foundation gets a chance to absorb the powder and set, okay? And if it looks ashy and powdery, leave it, okay? Because you can brush off the excess later. Just give it about a minute to maybe 2 minutes. You can work on another part of perfecting your look at this point, or, you know, start doing your eye whatsoever. And then after the foundation has set, all right, and absorb the powder, you can very, very gently and lightly brush off the excess. And there you have it. Okay, so there's your cream foundation application basics. That's going to end up with a result that's not cakey and even, and yet giving you an amazing coverage. So thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.